Good morning, everyone. We're coming from Yom Kippur, which was celebrated yesterday, and now we have 4 days to get ready for Sukkot. And I want you to know that these 4 days are called God's days. Why are these 4 days called God's days? Because they link the holiday of Yom Kippur to Sukkot. And we know that the holiest name of God is the Tetragrammaton, which is spelled in Hebrew with 4 letters, Yud, Hey, a Vav, and then a final Hey. And we're taught that these 4 days correspond to the 4 letters of God's name. And when we come from Yom Kippur, we have elevated ourselves spiritually, and now we have to put into practice on the holiday of Sukkot what we experienced on Yom Kippur. Now, something very interesting was that yesterday Yom Kippur fell out on September 25th. And you can look this up on the internet. I never knew this. But apparently, September 25th is World Dream Day. It's designated as a day for human beings having great dreams and visions and aspirations and lofty goals. And for the Jewish people, it really was the World Dream Day, because we dreamt of our highest, greatest possibilities for ourselves, our families, our communities, the Jewish people, and for the entire world. And one of the greatest blessings for the Jewish people is unity, something that we desperately need, and to be inclusive and love every single member of the Jewish nation and beyond, but to make sure that the Jewish people are unified as one people. We're such a tiny nation. We're only 15 million people. The only way we can thrive is if we support and love and care for one another. And no holiday illustrates this more than the holiday of Sukkot, the message of Jewish unity. First and foremost, we have the Sukkah. Everyone leaves their comfortable homes. And it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, if you live in a simple home or in a mansion. On Sukkot, we all sit in the same sukkah under the branches of the tree, which represents the schach, the divine protection. We realize that no matter who we are, we all have a soul from God. We're all protected by one divine, godly Father in heaven who loves us all equally. And therefore it shows the unity and the oneness of the Jewish nation. But furthermore, we know that the 4 species, the etrog, the lulav, the hadassim, and the ravot, the willow branch, the myrtle branches, the citrus fruit, and the palm date branch, represents 4 categories of Jews. From the highest, the etrog has smell and taste, represents a Jew who has good deeds, like a good fragrance, and has good knowledge of Torah, which is represented by the taste of the fruit. All the way down to the willow that has no taste and no fruit, and no taste and no fragrance. And it represents the unity that we have to have all categories of Jews, those who are learned, those who are not learned, those who are righteous, those who are not righteous. And only when we bundle all 4 categories together can we experience true joy, which is the emphasis of the holiday of Sukkot. And so during these holy days, as we get ready for Sukkot, we look forward to celebrating the oneness and the unity of the Jewish nation. And if we are united as a people, then we can be that light unto the nations, and then we could spread that love and that unity and that oneness amongst the entire world. And what greater world dream day could we have than the visualization of the ultimate dream of the unity and the oneness of all of mankind, which will be in the era of Mashiach, when there'll be no more war and no more competition and no more strife and no more hatred and no more jealousy and no more envy, but all of the nations of the world will learn to live in peace, which is the ultimate emphasis of the holiday of Sukkot, when offerings were brought in the temple for all of the 70 original nations, representing the unity of all of mankind. I heard a story just recently that happened this Rosh Hashanah. One of the leading rabbis in America today is a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Shmuel Kamenetsky. He's the founder of the Talmudic Academy of Philadelphia. He's 99 years old. He was born in Lithuania. And this year he suffered a stroke, unfortunately. And Jews around the world were praying for him to have a recovery. And they weren't sure if he would make it to Shul this Rosh Hashanah. He's improved, but he's not obviously back to himself. But thank God he made it to Shul on Rosh Hashanah, and everyone was delighted to have him in the synagogue in Philadelphia, in the yeshiva. Now, he had a role every year that he would be the one who would call out the sounds of the shofar for the shofar blower. Tekiah, Shvarim, Truah, which is usually given to a very respected rabbi who knows the laws of blowing shofar to make sure every sound is done properly before you go on to the next sound. This year, it was time to blow the shofar, and everyone was delighted that the rabbi made it, Rabbi Shmuel Kamenetsky, and they asked him to come up to call out the sounds of the shofar. And he said, no, I don't want to do it this year. And they said, why? We look forward to it. Please. He was in good enough health to come to shul and pray. It doesn't take that much effort. It's not like blowing the shofar. You need a lot of energy. Just have to call out the names. He knows the laws. His mind is well. Why not? And he kept on saying, no, no, no. And they kept on encouraging, until finally he reluctantly went up and called out the sounds. Later that day, someone asked him, the Rosh Yeshiva, the rabbi, chief rabbi of the yeshiva, why did you not want to go up? It's such an honor to have you do it, and everyone wanted you to do it. Why were you so hesitant and reluctant? And the rabbi said, I'll tell you why. Because no one knew if I was going to make it to the synagogue this year, Rosh Hashanah. My health has been poor. Thank God, in the last moment, I had enough strength and I came to the synagogue. And so I figured that surely you had a backup plan if I wouldn't make it. And you went over to some other respected, prominent rabbi in the community and you said, in case the Rabbi Kamenetsky doesn't make it, will you call out the sounds of the shofar? And this fellow was probably reviewed all the laws to prepare himself for this role of knowing all the laws of the sounds of the shofar. And he was perhaps looking forward to the opportunity to call out the sounds, to have this honor. He said, since I was able to make it, you obviously turned to me to do it. But I didn't want to deprive this person of his opportunity to do the mitzvah, of have this honor in the synagogue. And that's why I was extremely, extremely reluctant. But when I saw that everyone in the congregation wanted me to do it, I figured most probably he also would be happy if I did it. And I went up and blew the shofar. And imagine a man 99 years old, just went through a stroke, and has the sensitivity to say, you know what, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to take away anything from someone that they were looking forward to having. That's the message of the high holidays that we have to implement now on Sukkot. The unity and the love for our fellow man, each and every person, from the greatest to the simplest of the simplest. At the end of the day, we're all God's children. We all dwell in the same sukkah. We all unite as one. And we all receive, in the merit of our unity, the greatest joy and protection from above. Have a wonderful day. And the next 4 days, let us celebrate God's 4 special days on the calendar.